Todd, have you heard of the Hell Saloon?
Yes, I actually have.
It's where the food is hot, the jokes are cheesy, and the only thing you lose is your appetite. Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is to make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. The bottom line is stay local when you're on bike trips looking for great places to eat and chat it up with the locals.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about the top motorcycle restaurants today in Michigan, in Minnesota, and in Wisconsin. So, shall we start with Michigan?
Sure.
So this is a place that I planned to go to, but we never made it to in the last round to Michigan. It's technically in a town called Pinckney, Michigan is the address. They call it Hell, Michigan, though. And this is called the Hell Saloon. But I love the kind of tagline they have is hot music, sinful food, and fierce fun. Making it to hell and back is something you won't soon forget. So this is looks to be about an hour west of Detroit. And it's a big biker place, a great place to go. And we were planning to go there. And then the other thing that's interesting about it is in Hell, Michigan, you can actually become mayor for the day if you sign up in time too. And I think it's just all around their kind of their little spiel of hell. So it's kind of cool. Right. But the saloon looks like a heck of a nice place. All kinds of fun happens there. So
yeah. So how official is this become the mayor?
Yeah, I mean, like you can go on the website and you can get signed up and you come into town and they make you mayor and they take your picture and...
Can't make any rules though, can you?
Well, I suppose you could, but the next guy might overrule you 5 minutes later. So they kind of sign you in and sign you out. It's kind of fun. It was interesting. We were planning on getting all the way down there when we made a trip. We were going to kind of do a Canadian trip, hit over, come back across through Detroit, and we ended up not going down that far. But, yeah, it looked like a pretty fun place.
That's a fun concept.
And then another great place, because I wanted to pick one that's in the Lower Peninsula, or Michigan Regular. And then one for the Upper Peninsula is a great place. Again, I haven't been there, but this is on my list because I think it's on the Pasties tour.
Oh, good.
Is the Bear Trap Inn. And by checking it all out, that's in Shingleton, Michigan. But they have the pasties, and it's just home-style bar food, meatloaf, just kind of what you'd expect maybe in the UP.
Yeah, comfort food, right?
Yeah, so if you think straight north of Manistee, just a little bit south of Superior. So we've been in the area before, but we just didn't run into this place. So definitely a place to stop at is the Bear Trap Inn.
Bear Trap.
Yeah. So then Minnesota, all places that we're very familiar with, I think here. I picked out Betty's Pies, which we've been to a number of times in Two Harbors. Yeah. And so this place is pretty much, I'd say, known for breakfast and pies.
Yeah. And it's on a great route.
It really is.
This is a great motorcycle route to stop in.
It's just north of Duluth.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great place to go.
Some of my most favorite views are that road as you're driving up, and we've come from it both ways. We've come from the north and the south. But it's just like, I don't think of these views ever as being lake or freshwater lake views. They're just these big bluffs with big rocks sticking out in the outside. And I'm just always amazed at the views. Every time I'm shocked by them, I forget about them, and then we see them, and I'm just like, wow. And there's a tunnel that you go through there. But Betty's Pies, probably the funny stories of that is I think maybe the first time we went there, maybe, I don't remember.
I wasn't there the first time, yeah.
So the first time we went there, we were going around Superior. And so we stopped there, and I think we stayed in Duluth, and we made it up there for breakfast. And so the lady came out and showed us the menu of the omelets or whatever, and I said, well, I want an appetizer. And she's like, well, for breakfast? I'm like, yeah, a piece of apple pie. She's like, okay. So then we ate our breakfast, and then I said, I want one for dessert, because the rest of those guys were everyone. And then she's like, do you want any to go? I said, yeah, I'll take one to go. And she thought that was the funniest thing ever, and it was pretty funny, so we ended up taking one for the road.
So did you have 3 different pieces of pie that day? Yeah.
And then, but we've been up again. We've talked about being in that area a couple times, and you have a friend that lives there, Dave.
Yeah.
And he actually told us that Betty's Pies is good, but there's a little place, a little further north, the Rustic Inn Cafe, also in Two Harbors, That's better pie. So
That's what he says. Yeah.
the last time we were there, we were going to go there, but it closes things up in the not in the UP, but in Minnesota, it closed a little earlier.
It closed earlier than
Yeah.
we were. Yeah, we
Because we
got
were
there right
rolling into
about
town
closing time.
about closing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. So
Yeah.
be careful on some of those. Kind of in some of these places that are a little more remote, the hours can be a little less than ideal, and some days of the week they aren't open. So.
Yeah, I would plan ahead if you want to get to some of these places.
So just a good example of knowing a local person and finding a place that's maybe a little more or less known.
Absolutely.
But they look to have some pretty good fish menu items as well
Yeah.
to rustic in. So, yeah. What about this Zorba's?
Well, Zorba's is just really well known in Minnesota. There's actually multiple locations, but in Brainerd on Gull Lake.
And a lot of the Zorbas are around lakes, aren't they? Kind of. I mean, we went to one.
Yeah, I've only been to the ones that are near lakes.
Okay.
I don't know if there's
don't
any that
either.
aren't.
Yeah.
But I mean, they always have like a sand volleyball area, like an outdoor play area where there might be bags set up.
Got it.
And different outdoor games and things like that, and even indoor.
Yeah.
It's just fun. They've got some video things set up, and they have all kinds of food from pizzas to.
Well, it's funny because it says it always is called it's Mexican and Italian, and you think, well, that's interesting.
Right, but they have everything in there.
Yeah.
No, it's good food, fun atmosphere, always plenty of parking.
Okay.
So yeah, and because they're around lakes, at least the ones that we've been to, great roads to ride.
Great roads. It's
yeah.
fun too because people are always coming up on boats and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to see.
Yep.
And it's just kind of a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, and some of my family members have worked there for the summers.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
And then kind of the bonus is not really a restaurant, but just mention the Stockholm pie and general store. Stockholm, Minnesota is basically on the Minnesota, Wisconsin border. Mm-hmm. And so this was actually voted 2024 USA Today's best pie in the U.S.
Really?
And it was delicious. It is a little, like you can get some sandwiches and things. Just a cute little town. I mean, just imagine a town that was, kind of just forgotten about. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that since they were the U.S.'s best pie, I think you could tell that the town was buzzing the day that we went there. We took a tour and then we came back home through this way, and it was quite the place to stop. It was busy. Like when we first pulled in town, there wasn't even a place to park, and we ended up getting a perfect parking spot right outside the door of the place. But it was a lot of people in town. There's a little camping area there too. Mm-hmm. So it's a cool place. I wouldn't call it a strictly biker place. It was just a weekend getaway place. It's really close to there's a lot of people that have lake homes up in that area on the Mississippi Bay. Not too far from Prairie du Chien and that. Mm-hmm. So then that leaves us Wisconsin, I guess. So the first one I had not been to, but it looks like an amazing biker area in Natosha, Wisconsin, off County Road C. It's called Hollywood's Roadhouse. And again, it's really it looked to be about an hour west of Milwaukee. And this place looked fun. It looks like they have bands, bikes, like a very bike culture-y place to be, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd ever been there or not.
I haven't, but I did see some pictures of it. I mean, the bar looks fantastic too. Yeah.
Great. It's just cool looking.
Yeah, it's a great looking place. So is that on like an upcoming trip? You think we're gonna?
I mean,
get up
the
there?
problem always becomes with us is we don't get too close to Milwaukee. So
yeah.
But I was thinking about it, and one of our guys, Chris, lives in Chicago, and we've talked about trying to. Every single time he meets us, right? So we've always talked about trying to go meet him first.
Start there, yeah.
And so if we did that, it would be easy to just head north out of town, and maybe we could hit that, as a kind of early lunch or something. It'd be cool to stop there because, I mean, it's your kind of classic right off the road, bikes park up front, kind of back in, and you see pictures on the website of all the bikes parked, which is just a cool look. I'm sure on the weekends it's full of bikes.
At least for us bikers.
There's a lot, right? Well, the other people just take the interstate. Another, I think, just a great place in Wisconsin is down at Potosi, Wisconsin. So in 1952, there was the Potosi Brewing Company. And it was quite a place, but it ended up going out of business in the 1970s. But one of the greatest things about it is it's actually a historic place now. And so in 1995, there was a local artist named Gary David who bought the property, and then he set up a foundation. So it's a 501c3, raised a bunch of money, $7.5 million, and really got it to be part of the National Scenic Byway program. I watched a YouTube video on it, and it's really good if you get a chance to do a search on it, because it tells you basically this town is it was almost dead, the town was. And this has actually revitalized the entire town. So they've kind of centered around this. It's a museum now. You can take a tour of the brewery, the old brewery, and they've got a place to eat there. And then there was actually, when I was looking this up, there's another really cool looking, they call it the original Potosi Saloon, and it is way cool too. So the town, it's kind of just a neat story, I think, of how a town can get like kind of revitalized by someone's kind of vision. But if you haven't been there, now they brew beer again. And I do actually know here in 2025, there's a movie being shot about breweries from here in Iowa City, and they're using that brewery for some of the shots because they have like one of the only still remaining like loading docks the way it was back in the like late 1800s.
Wow.
So it hasn't been updated. They have left it probably because, they hadn't changed it and then it shut down. So when they kind of restored everything, they just made it back to the original stuff. So it's pretty amazing what they did with it. And it's a great place.
Yeah.
And it's just along a great road in Wisconsin to find. So you can't go wrong.
That's great. And, and I always think of Wisconsin. If I'm in Wisconsin, I have to buy some Spotted Cow beer. Because you can't buy it outside of Wisconsin. So New Glarus Brewing Company.
Yep. And that's another great tour. I don't know if you've ever taken
I haven't taken that tour. But
that's a great place.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get to. And it's on a nice kind of county road. And, going from kind of like going east to west in Wisconsin there's not a lot of like highways. So you end up finding these old country roads. And one of the greatest things about riding in Wisconsin and some of these places is just all the little like mom and pop meat shops, cheese shops. Yeah. They're everywhere and they're pretty fun. So
great people. Great
my
people
gosh.
to talk to.
Yeah. So I know that New Glarus has a brewery tour that you can take as well.
Yeah.
And so that's
save a little room in your bags for a 6-pack because that Spotted Cow is
only
is
Wisconsin
special.
New Glarus.
Yeah.
You can't get it outside. So
yeah. And you were talking about, just that one place in Potosi that kind of revitalized the town.
Yeah.
It really makes me think of where we live, in Solon, Iowa. I'm not saying the town wasn't in trouble or anything, but, Big Grove Brewery came along.
It literally revitalized the town.
It totally revitalized our town, and now we've got a bunch of nice restaurants. And
watch this video sometime about Potosi, because it basically talks about this town, and you can kind of see it when you drive into town. You're kind of like, am I going to get somewhere? Like, the last time I drove through there, I was trying to take somebody that hadn't been there, and I almost thought I was on the wrong road. And then, but I knew it wasn't because I had my GPS up.
Yeah.
And you kind of, it's almost a town that time forgot. And then this, they built this money, and it's made the town something again, and it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a section we call the Toolkit. We share motorcycle gear review, and other riding tips. So Todd, in the Toolkit today, I thought, well, how do we there's not really tools to find good restaurants, but then I started thinking, we've talked about this before, and there really is, right? Get on, local writer groups or on Facebook accounts, and just connect with local groups or ask people, hey, this is where I'm going. What should I not miss? And there's always some locals that say, what you want to see is the Potosi Brewery tour or whatever, I just think of the times we've done that, and it's just always been a positive experience, either from going ahead and working ahead on the forums or on the Facebook groups, or when we've just kind of asked around when you're getting gas, like if you need to get gas, get it before you think you're going to go get something to eat somewhere, and ask, because someone always knows something about someone.
Yes.
If you like the podcast today, please like, subscribe, or sign up for our BMR Writers Alerts. It's our way of keeping you in the loop, and we promise no spam.
Yeah, keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads, the stories ride forever. Take care.